Whew, this is hard. I want to be different. I like to be different. And it was like a rabbit in headlights. A very hard lesson if you want to get on in this life. I grow with my heart.
I get it. What a great way of putting it. I never thought of it like that.
Absolutely stubborn, and I went for it.
Oh, precious, precious moments.
You'll never get back.
It's quite moving.
Oh, sorry about that.
Welcome to Supplied, the podcast about how fresh food gets to us from the people who produce it, move it and cook it. I'm Rob Burton. I've spent over 45 years both growing and then supplying fruit and veg to some of Britain's top restaurants. Now I get the chance to talk to people behind the food we eat. From specialist growers, committed suppliers and Michelin-star kitchens, we'll hear how they got started, why they do what they do and the lessons they've learned along the way. So whether you work in fresh food or just care where yours comes from, you're in the right place. This podcast is made possible by Fresho, the order management platform that helps food suppliers run smoother, faster and smarter operations. Now, let's get into the episode. Today, my guest is Marco Caffarelli, who is the third generation of the family in 60 years involved in growing. Based on Floral Farm in Ireland near Cambridge, he and his family specialise in growing cucumbers. The family has been given the name of cucumber royalty by the chefs at Ferndale Hotels, simply because their cucumbers taste like cucumbers should. I think it's fair to say that Marco has an interesting tale or two to tell us today, along with helping us understand more about what it takes to produce a truly stunning cucumber as against one that is just about okay. Marco, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Not a problem.
So should we start with the family history? Where does that take us back to?
Okay, yep. So my father came over from Italy with his parents. Well, my granddad was a prisoner of war in London, or Broxbourne in London. Mm-hmm. And it was the age of 19. And back then, if you came over, you had to go straight to work. And he went to work making curbstones during the week. And in the evenings and at weekends, he worked on a nursery doing tomatoes and cucumbers.
Whereabouts? What area?
Around about, I think it was Hoe Lane, around that area. What is known as the Lee Valley.
Yeah.
He was around Tyler's Cross, all them sort of areas.
Mm-hmm.
They were either flower nurseries or food nurseries, cucumbers, tomatoes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, if my memory serves me correctly, there was a lot of Italian families ended up in the Lee Valley area, is that right?
Yeah, and it's well renowned as the Lee Valley.
Yeah.
It's Little Italy, I think they used to call it at times as well.
So that's how he got his involvement with growing?
Yeah, he started there, and he worked with, unbeknown to him, what would have been his father-in-law and my dad, so my mum's dad and his dad. They worked on a nursery. They then rented a nursery a few years later. Then after about 3 years, they then went and bought a nursery together, which was near, coincidentally, Tesco's first head office.
Oh, right,
it was next door to that. Yeah. So they bought that. And then after a couple of years, my two grandparents decided that was not for them, because it was hard work. Back in them days, it was straw bales, it was all sorts of stuff, small conventional, it was hard work. So Dad carried on, and then from there he then moved on to another nursery, and from that one it was okay, but we lived in Cheshunt and he had to travel every day, and it was like a 40-minute drive, and he got fed up with that. Didn't want that, because he didn't see the family. My mum had her own hairdressing salon in Cheshunt, so they had a discussion, and they looked for somewhere where they could live and work on the same site. So in 1979... So
you'd be about 30 then?
Yeah, but you was near on retirement age by then, I would imagine, but it's okay. So they then found this place in Isleham, in Cambridgeshire, which was a dream for them, an absolute shock for me, because I'd gone from living in a city environment into the absolute middle of nowhere, it felt like.
And so how old were you at this point?
8 or 9 years old.
Got you, yeah.
So it was a bit of a shock for me, not for them. And that became Floral Farm. the first year, my father grew tomatoes on this nursery. Didn't like it because he knew his cucumbers. So then the following year, he changed everything and went on to cucumbers.
And was it called Floral Farm then? Or?
Yeah, it was called Floral Farm then because originally it was a carnation nursery.
Okay.
So that's why it was called Floral Farm.
And that's why the glasshouses were there?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then that's when it started.
And was it sort of fit for purpose and ready to go, or was there work needed doing to it?
Absolutely not. He bought the farm off the bank because unfortunately it didn't work out for the previous owner.
Yeah.
And so it was in need of a lot of work. The bungalow, what my parents moved in, what we moved into, had been empty for 5 or 6 years. Some local people tried to keep it going on behalf of the bank of what was going on, which was good of them, and they did a good job of it. But obviously, it's not theirs, and it needed a lot of work. So, and it was a lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of hours.
Just to make it fit for purpose.
To try and earn a living. The years were hard. I remember them vividly. We worked as a family, really did. So I'd go to school, come home from school, and this would be at 9, 10 years old. I'd have to go down and help out. Whether it was back in them days, you made the boxes or in the greenhouse moving stuff, and things like that.
Just out of interest, so going back to then, in terms of yield then and yield now, what's the difference?
As in terms of cucumber sticks, I couldn't really tell you because there's no record of a cucumber stick back then. As in terms of a growing season, I could tell you that the cucumbers was not planted until March, late March, and then you'd be finished in September, sometime in September.
So if you planted in late March, when would you first start cropping?
Be about 4 weeks back then. But that was after you'd put all the straw bales in. Well, you'd have to steam the glasshouse, disinfect it, steam it. Then when that was done, the whole greenhouse would be rotivated again. And in the early years, it was a 1 1/4 acre block. And before my dad built some more, and he used to rotivate it. If you've ever seen them, a Honda, not a Mary Tiller rotavator.
Yeah, I've seen.
So
it's
done about a metre at a time.
Yeah.
And about 110 foot wide greenhouse. So up and down we'd go. Yeah. And I used to do it as well with him.
So, okay, so there's not a record there, but what would your gut feel be in terms of percentage terms? Like if 0 was the number then, in terms of percentage, how's the increased profit? What does the increase in productivity
So we
look
do
like?
now about 1 million to 1.2 million sticks a year.
Yeah.
I would say back then we'd be lucky if we'd done probably 150,000 sticks.
Goodness me.
It's a massive jump. It's a massive extended season now as well. Yeah.
So your season then was planting in late March, start cropping sort of 4 weeks after. What does that look like now?
Now, so this growing season, which is 25, for the first time ever, I decided, after a long conversation with my plant producer, the bloke that propagates my seeds, that I would like to start a little bit quicker, a bit sooner, to keep my clients happy, because they want my cucumbers and they get pretty moany when they have to keep relying on foreign imports. They don't want it.
Correct.
So I planted cucumbers in December 2024 on the 30th of December.
Right, and started cropping those when?
About the 7th of February we started cropping, which was a bit not as quick as I wanted, but we had unusually dull weather, so it didn't go how it wanted. So it's been up till now, thus it's been a long season already. Yeah. And go from them. But if you want to go back to what we used to do years ago, the greenhouse, when the cucumbers were finished in September, we used to plant 500,000 round cabbage lettuces in that greenhouse.
Oh, right. So double cropping in effect, yeah.
So I can tell you that in 2 weeks, that was cut, picked, gone.
Yeah.
So it'd be my mum, my dad, me getting off the bus and making these flaming lettuce boxes every night, and they'd have lights up and another worker that would do his standard 8-hour, 40-hour week back then. And in 2 weeks, that was cut, gone and sold.
Amazing.
So
Absolutely
after
amazing.
Christmas, everything started for the cucumber season.
And obviously, I mean, perhaps for the benefit of our listeners, is that cucumbers need heat, but they need light.
Lots of heat, lots of light.
Yeah.
You can do what you want, but you'll never beat nature.
Yeah. So obviously heating can be artificial. What about, do you use artificial lighting?
No, I don't use artificial lighting, but about 12, 13 years ago, 12 years ago to be precise, I installed a biomass system. At that time, my father was very ill, very, very ill actually. And so I took it upon myself to install a biomass heating system so I could burn wood and straw, because the price of oil, because we was on oil, was horrendous. It wasn't working. So we wouldn't have been there to this day if I hadn't have made that radical change and done that. So we run 2 biomass boilers now to run on straw, locally sourced straw and wood, and we also have quite an array of solar panels on the roofs of the buildings to try and help with the electricity cost as well.
So have you always, actually no, better question. Why do your cucumbers taste like a cucumber should? Now, you don't need to give any trade secrets away if you don't want to, but there is a difference, because I've done blind tastings myself and with customers, and it just, okay, from the outside, it looks like they both look like cucumbers, but one has got a distinctly more cucumber taste than the other. Why?
I would say there's several reasons. I'm taught with cucumbers from learning a crop. So I went to college. I knew more than the tutors when I was at college.
What, specifically a horticultural?
I went to a horticultural agricultural college. The problem when I got there was I knew more than most, because I've been around growing stuff all my life. So I've grown peppers, aubergines, everything. I've more or less grown anything. I had once done a big array of a bird of paradise. Have you ever seen that flower? We've done
what's
them.
it called? Strelitzia, I think.
I can't remember. I couldn't tell you, but we grew them. So this was all before I was 16, and I went to college. The problem was I knew more than what I was being taught, so I went off and I learned other things. So I can do nursery stock, I can do amenities. So I learned how to bud and graft on trees, apples and all that, roses. Right. So I ended up doing a lot of other stuff other than what I was specifically supposed to do. Yeah. Because I just knew so much. So I'm what you would call a grower. So I grow
it by feel.
I grow by what I see, by what I know. My cucumbers are different. They are different. There's no disbelief in that. Even though I can't eat cucumbers, they give me horrific indigestion.
Really?
Yeah, but
so the cucumber grower doesn't eat the cucumbers? Yeah,
that's how it is. Yeah, okay, I'm afraid so. But I can tell you, without a taste test, I can tell you from a smell test which one's mine and which one isn't. So
from a smell?
Just by the smell of them. So there was a story once hovering around that our cucumbers made it onto one of the Cunard boats. Yeah. Actually, we've made a few boats in our time, big noise boats as well. So we was on there, and apparently the chef stopped everyone in the kitchen and asked what the smell was, and it was, does that actually smell like a cucumber? And that message got relayed back to us. Yeah. Which was quite nice to hear.
Huge compliment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And then this year, the South Pole expedition, a friend of a friend who knew me was on there and was walking through the kitchen and saw a cucumber box that said Caffarelli cucumbers in the South Pole. So that was quite nice as well. On the Sir David Attenborough boat, I've got the pictures and all sorts they all got sent to me. So it's good. So, but what makes mine taste? I'm a grower. Yeah. So I grow. I don't want to grow something that you can pick up anywhere and everywhere. I want to be different. I like to be different.
I'll tell you what, none of us are under any illusions that you are fucking different.
Don't you know it, kid? So we grow attentively. We're not a massive concern. So we grow slightly steadier. Don't overforce, and you get a little bit more of a naturalness to the flavour.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And that's all it really is. That is, well, it's that and knowing what your plant's doing.
Yeah.
Every day, twice a day, I spend time walking around and looking. And I can walk through a crop at quite a pace and tell you exactly what's going on by now. From years ago when I was a kid, remembering my dad with straw bales, and that when he used to pull the straw bale about, get a fork, and it'd be like 8 feet away from where this plant was growing. He'd dig the ground and to see what the roots were doing in the soil underneath. So that's how I learn. Root, it's just knowing what you're growing.
Yeah, experience and feel. Having that feel, and you can't teach feel. You just feel it. Yeah, I know it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. I just know what I'm doing. It's like a chef saying, when they cook something, how do they know without tasting it?
Yeah,
they know what they've done. Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to the growing cycle. So, assuming that light and heat are so important, and I'm guessing so the growing cycle is longer for those ones you planted on the 30th of December. So, what's the shortest? So, when conditions are absolutely perfect, from time of planting to the time of cropping, how quick can it be? What's the other extreme? So
it ranges really. So it ranges how you treat the plant, what you do, what the weather's doing. So if you've got extreme heat, ironically, cucumbers have been a hot house plant that's been, hot greenhouses and that. And over the years, they've bred them so that they grow slightly cooler, so you don't have to pump all the heating into them. And now we've got this supposedly global warming business going on. So cucumbers are like, when it's really hot, 30 degrees, they don't like it yet. I remember as a kid, if it was 30 degrees, my dad was jumping for joy in the greenhouse. This is what they want. So it's contrast. But the quickest I personally have produced from a 18-inch tall plant to picking the first cucumber is 12 days.
Good God.
But as a rule...
That's perfect conditions.
Perfect. Yeah. With a perfect grower, obviously, like me. So as a rule, everyone in the industry says about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But it is achievable to do it quicker.
So we've talked about heating, and you've just touched upon the fact that they don't like it when it's too hot.
Nope.
Can you cool? Can you reduce the temperature a bit over and above opening the windows?
No.
The skylights? No.
Only if you shade the glass with like a lime wash. They'll shade it. You can shade the glass and sort of, it gives an effect of shading, but it's still hot in there.
Yeah.
But then on the other side of it, you need a light as well. So it's a bit of a thing. Now we have like thermal screens that you can pull across when it's too hot, which just calms it down a little bit. And then obviously in the winter months, you plant early, the screens are shut when it's cold. And if it's a bright, cold day, you put the heating on, open the screens up, like a Roman blind, really, but a horizontal one. And it opens up and lets the sunlight in. So
you were involved, obviously, from a very young age. You mentioned sort of 9, 10 years old. So when you finished your education, did you then go straight into it, or did you...
Absolutely not.
Why?
I was not allowed.
Not allowed? Why?
No.
They got you worked out. But,
yeah, my father knew me pretty well, actually. My dad, and we could have really good, proper conversations at times. And he said that it'd be best that you worked somewhere else and learnt what it's like to work under somebody, whereas you can't.
Yeah.
Family business you can manipulate, and also it can also be the other way around completely.
Yeah.
So I had to go off and work somewhere else for about a year. I went and, of all the places, I went and worked in a scrap yard in Newmarket. It was the biggest scrap yard in the country at the time.
Why did you choose a scrap yard? What drew you to that?
Well, because mate got me a job there, to be fair with you.
Got you. So basically, you couldn't get a job anywhere else, wasn't there?
It was easy. It was absolutely easy. Everybody wanted me, but I chose.
I can imagine. Queuing around the block.
Oh, yeah. Undoubtedly. So I went there. I went as a shunter train driver. So I had a little Thomas the Tank engine that I drove around this yard, driving these bins around, in which they used to put the scrap metal in. All these old Generation X travellers, if you like. And when they told you to pick up something that weighed 60 odd kilos, if you didn't pick it up, you knew about it. So you picked it up.
Yeah.
A very hard lesson of how you will work if you want to get on in this life.
Didn't do you any harm though, I'd wager.
Absolutely not. The industry, if you want to go on to how it goes in other ways, the industry, what I do now is hard work.
Yeah.
Hard hours, hard work. And when I worked with these men, who some are still alive today, but crazily enough, I'm friends with their children and their grandchildren. I've been to weddings and all sorts, because I got on so well with these men.
And these were the people that you were working with in the scrapyard?
Yeah, and they weren't my bosses. They were just people that worked in this scrapyard. Yeah. And when you pick something up, and don't you fuck around and grow up, stop being a little child and pick it up. You worked. You seriously worked. And you knew you'd done a day's shift. And if you was 2 minutes late, you was docked quarter of an hour pay. So you was never 2 minutes late.
Yeah.
1 minute late was acceptable. 2 minutes was. So it was a hard grounding. A really hard grounding. And like I say, still friends. I'm 56 now, and I was 17 at the time, 18. Still friends with the families to this day, several of them as well.
So you did that, say for about a year?
Yeah, nearly a year. It was nearly a year.
And then did you then go back to the family?
And then the conversation came that, what do you want to do? You're obviously quite happy there. Train driver, crane driver, all sorts of things. I was everything and anything. What do you want to do? So it was a bit of a conversation, and I decided to come and, whether it's as farming goes, it's impregnated from birth that son is going to take over the family farm. Same as the cucumber farm. I think if you talk to the other cucumber growers, it's the same thing, tomatoes, the whole lot.
Yeah.
So basically you are going to be this grower because you're the son. So I went to work for my dad.
You're right, but I mean, I was, our family business was farming, and my father said to me on several occasions, you don't need to do this, you don't have to do this, but I wanted to do it.
And that
he did try very hard to put me off.
And that was another conversation that we had going back then. He was like, to be here is good, but look to do if you can if you can do something else, because you've got all this land, you've got everything here. He said, if you want to make money, become a landscaper. Well, it wasn't far wrong, really, was it?
So he was putting you under no pressure at all.
No,
to join the family business.
I wanted to supersede what he'd done.
You want to do better than what he'd done?
Most definitely, I wanted to. It was hard because he was a self-made man from a very hard life. So obviously, you can imagine that. Did that put you under a lot of? Did you put yourself under a lot of pressure because you wanted to beat what he'd achieved? It was both pressure. Yeah. I mean, we could probably do the work of 4 blokes, just the 2 of us.
Yeah.
Because you'd put a shift in, a hard shift. You'd be down there at 4 o'clock in the morning. If we didn't come in, we might come in at 1 o'clock and have a bite to eat, because you'd go in the house and you'd sit at a table and eat, but you'd only have half an hour, 40 minutes, and then probably not come in that evening till about 6, 7, 8 o'clock, maybe even later sometimes.
Sounds like you and your dad had a really good relationship and a good working relationship.
We had a decent relationship. We had a severely enviable working relationship, I would say, in the area. And I think to this day with my family, as we are as a business, we have got an envy of how we work and how we think. And it's kind of like, I'm proud to be a super, super hard worker, but I'm also under no illusions it will have a price to pay at some stage, and has had a price to pay with children growing up. I mean, I've got 4 children. I've got 2 boys, 2 girls.
Yeah. They involved?
One's involved.
Yeah.
When one's having a bad day at work, it wants to be involved, and otherwise it's, you know.
Grass is greener on the other side.
You got it. Yeah. The eldest one, he's involved, and he does remind me of me, as in the hours he will put in. Well, yeah,
Crafter.
Not in every way. So we are known for the work we put into what we do locally, and I think pretty much everywhere else. We keep things to ourselves. So me and my dad had a relationship, and it was a typical, probably working for your father in a family relationship. It was up and down, but in terms of work, we could really work. And I think in some respects, I overpressured myself in the early years to be as good or better.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah. And was that achievable then? Probably not how things were then. And then while that was going on, my dad's father died. And the grandparents, when I was young, was a big influence on life.
Yeah.
You know, so, and he really, both my grandparents, but one died when I was very young. But my dad's dad, he was big. I used to go with him on the allotments and things like that. He was a very true green-fingered grower. So he died, and then things kind of knocked into place, and I come back, and then my dad, there was some worrying signs that it didn't seem correct. Really.
What, in terms of his health?
Yeah. So he had a pacemaker and bits and bobs, extremely high blood pressure for a long while, which he didn't even know he'd got. So he'd got an enlarged heart. So as the back working for the family, as the years rolled on, and then probably be 15 years ago now, he, at the age of 65, he developed Alzheimer's quite heavily. All of a sudden it came on. So I was thrown into the driving seat, and it was like a rabbit in headlights.
How old were you at that point?
40, 38.
Yeah.
38, 40, something like that. So
then you had to step up and be the man.
Yeah, and I didn't.
You didn't?
I struggled.
Okay.
I did.
In what ways?
The industry, at that point, the industry was turning a rate of knots. So your Tesco's were popping up and saying out of town building was getting more and more.
So the supermarkets were dominating the trade, which was eroding your traditional customer base.
So our traditional customer base was wholesalers, market stalls, fruit and veg shops, traditional greengrocers, and they were dropping like flies, and I didn't really know what to do. So it was a bit of a where are we going? And to be fair with you, I struggled and wasn't doing great. And then it's sort of like all sort of things happened. My dad died, and it was a case of, well, if you want to do what you always said you was going to do, you better pull your bloody socks up, Marco, and crack on here. So I picked myself up, had a chat in the mirror, had a look at everything, my children, my wife, my poor mother, and I took this thing where I was going to succeed. And I was not, under any circumstances or anything, even at the expense of my family, I think my mentality was at that time, I was going to pull it through.
So you were very single-minded in your approach to what needed to be done.
Absolutely stubborn pig, Genghis Khan ignorant, and I went for it.
With the benefit of hindsight, would you change any of that?
What, my life as in general?
No, you're that single-minded approach, because you mentioned it possibly to the detriment of your family.
Yes, I would change that. I probably wouldn't have. I wouldn't have that now, but I'm quite fortunate that my wife, who was a single parent for a few years, and had been quite ill herself with a back operation, stuck by me. And my mother, who's now 67, put in the effort with her, and the kids. We done what we could, done how we could, and are you? Would I have done it different? I don't know. Yes, I would have done. Knowing what I know now, yes, it's the same old story, isn't it? If I knew back then what I knew now, I'd be a billionaire and not.
Yeah, I mean, 2020 hindsight's magnificent. I don't regret anything I've ever done, because actually it's a very negative emotion as far as I'm concerned, because actually the bottom line is I can't change it. Hopefully I've learnt from some of it, but I can't change it. So I'm not going to beat myself up about the bad decisions I made, because you make a decision you believe to be right at the time. That's the best you can do.
Whether I was fortunate or unfortunate, I don't know. So I came from a father that was really hard working. Maybe to this day, I think the right decision was to go to this scrap metal yard with a bunch of blokes that worked hard. They were like navvies, you know. That was, and so in my set now is you have to put a shift in. I'm not blessed with O levels, A levels, and university degrees. Yeah. I think it's a thing that's what's been installed into people today, but I don't think it's a necessity of life. I've always said if you've got a bit of a brain about you and you're willing to work, you'll always put food on your table and more.
I'm with you on that. I mean, if you say, speaking as a non-parent, if you say to people who've got kids, what's the one thing you really want to give your kids? And generally the most popular answer is, I want to give them a great education. Fuck off. Give them a work ethic.
Give them a life.
Because I know people with list of qualifications, as long as they're on, they ain't got a pot to piss in. I also know plenty of people who have got no qualifications. They do have a work ethic. There's always bread on the table. There's always a roof over the head, and there always will be. Thanks to Fresho for sponsoring this episode. Fresho provides order management and AI order entry software that fresh food suppliers love. From automating how to receive orders to picking, pricing, delivering, invoicing and payments, Fresho makes your business run better. And it's all backed with 24/7 support, so you get help when you really need it. To find out more, go to fresho.com.
So earlier on you asked me about why my cucumbers are different. What's the secret? The secret is a little bit in the growing of steady as she goes, a little bit. But in all honesty, if you want to know the secret of why I grow the cucumber I grow, a few years ago, there was big mega sites of glass being built. Yeah. Huge. And at that point, I wanted to expand slightly. And when these big, massive blocks of glass were going up, I decided not to do it because I figured that it would knock the industry for six. And
what, overproduction?
Oh, yeah, just basically because overproduction. But this... a little Dutch man that I can talk to and get on well with, and he's not a grower, but he works in the industry. He's actually a glazer, repairs glass in greenhouses. Okay. He said to me, I don't know what you're worrying about, they're not growers.
Manufacturers.
Yeah. He said, you have got absolutely nothing to worry about. So... I didn't listen to him, unfortunately, and I didn't expand, but I grow... this is hard. I grow with my heart.
I get it. Yeah, I'm with you all the way on that. I get it. And it's when you start thinking about it, it's quite moving. And I think back to when I was a kid, and indeed when I left school and started work, going around the farm with my dad. Oh, precious, precious moments.
Oh, yeah. You'll never get back.
No, he was... you've got me at it now, you twat. Yeah, my father... Yeah, he was a big thing in my life. He finished up shooting himself when he was 61. Yeah. We're not going to go down that particular route as the whys and wherefores, but he was a huge person in my life. But the treasured moments were going with him around the farm, generally on a Sunday morning, because then he told me we'd really got time to do it, and him giving me the pearls of wisdom. And, I mean, the one thing that stands out in my mind, we used to grow a lot of peas, fresh peas, hand-picked peas.
Crikey.
You know, and at its peak, you'd have 200 or 300 pickers in the field, which was
hard going.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very hard.
The one thing he said, if you really want to judge how good your peas are, give it when they're picked and in the net, as they were in those days, he said, just give them a little squeeze with your hand. And if they squeak, he said, they're talking to you. He said,
that's right.
He said, and that's when they're good. He said, if you give them a squeeze and nothing comes, he says, they're wrong. Things like that stuck with me. But it is hugely emotional because you bury your heart and soul and everything into it. It takes all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're imprisoned. I can't think what the words are, but
is it imprisoned? It's because it's
what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Then is it a prison?
No,
because you could have. If you know,
I think it's the self-employed, employed kind of scenario with other people in other jobs, isn't it? It's up. You're employed, but you're self-employed working on a farm. It's up to you how good you want to do your job, and I want. It's really nice to be known that you cannot buy these cucumbers what I produce anywhere, and they are different. And I really love growing different types of cucumber. I mean, the trouble is, I find growing cucumbers boring, if I'm brutally honest with you.
Yeah, you need a challenge.
I do need a challenge. So I grow different types of speciality cues, white ones, little thing ones. I've grown a one for woks, which was an Asian cucumber for stir fries. Only person in the country to do it. Only person in Europe that was growing them for a while, but they discontinued it because it didn't take off. I understand that. Now I grow these really small ones that are probably half the size of your little finger.
Yeah.
And people go blinking mad at them. If you want to know, I'm going to sit here as like with my crystal ball on the table, and I think the future in cucumbers is not what you'd call a standard European cucumber.
How do you see it then?
I see it as smaller cucumbers. I see it as you can get snack ones, which big as your thumb kind of scenario. These little mini ones, and also they call them portion cucumbers, which are about half the size or a little bit under that. I think that's where it'll go. But I think the biggest trend will probably be the smaller cucumbers because it's lob it in a box, you know, with the husband goes to work or the husband's pack or the male, whoever is doing a pack up, rather than sitting there slice. They'll just go, chuck one in, chuck one in. It's a bit like today that it's a treat to give your child, go to a drive-through and fill it full of poison.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing, is it? You know, but because society tells you today that there's no time to go home and prepare a meal. Absolute rubbish. There is time. Come to my world and work my hours and tell me there's no time to prepare a meal. I can do it. You know?
Interesting. So are you, based on that's how you see the future, are you thinking of going down that particular route in your production, so taking less out, producing slightly less of your, shall we say, standard cucumbers and going down that route? Because I know you've been growing these snack ones for a while. Yeah,
at present, no. But just keeping my ears and eyes and my nose on what's going on.
Yeah.
I think probably be another 5 or 6 years and we might see a trend bucking. I mean, the supermarket is, and I hate supermarkets, sorry, I don't know if I should put that in by there. The supermarket is a bit like it telling you what the perfect piece of fruit, vegetable, meat, whatever it is, looks like. So untrue. It's so untrue. So it's whether the supermarkets or the next buyer going down the line likes these things and thinks, do you know what, we're going to start pushing these, and that's what they'll do. And then they'll come up with sales techniques and stuff like that. You know, like they, I don't know if you're aware of it, but breweries, pubs, like Green King and all them lot, they're doing this thing now.
Other breweries are available.
Well, I can't remember them. So they're changing the glasses. So how a pint glass feels, every so often, every sort of like 8 months, they're sending new ones out because they feel different. So it's
interesting. That's clever.
It's very
that's
clever.
That's working out human behaviour, what it responds to.
So that's what they're doing. So it's about whether the supermarkets want to go this way. I think they will, but we'll see. But there's one thing with them small cucumbers. There's more work than a standard cucumber. A lot more work.
What, in terms of the harvesting?
Training them, you know, and you still have to, you know, I mean, we put a crop in January or December. March, that crop comes out. We disinfect the greenhouse. We clean it all down. We then plant another crop. So we normally turn around 8,000 plants in a day. Out, cleaned. Next day we wash. We give it an extra clean.
Yeah.
After that, plants come the following morning. Plants are there like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. We plant. We get that planted. We go pick. We pack. We put them on a lorry. They're sent out. They're done. So everything is done in a day. Picked, packed, lorry, on a table. They can be on a table that night. Some of them.
How would, just going back to sort of relationships, how would you compare your relationship with your father to your relationship with your son?
Unfortunately for him, pretty similar, I would imagine. However,
are you extra hard on him because he's your son? Because that's not uncommon in family businesses.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah. So if he wasn't your son, you wouldn't ride him quite as hard as
he'd have been sacked. My relationship with my eldest son, who works on the farm, is, yes, it's strenuous. Yes, it's he'll voice an opinion to me, and
which is good.
Yeah, which I want.
Yeah,
and yes, I will tell him why, and I strive for him to be better than me.
Yeah,
know the job better than me. Does he?
Does he want to? Does he want to be better than you? Is he driven the same way as you were driven? And do you want to? If he is, do you want him driven that way?
I don't want him driven how I was.
Yeah.
I want him driven to do the right thing. He's going to be a dad next year.
Oh, right, fantastic.
So, yeah, grandchild number 1. Let's hope it's no more.
That will change your life.
That will change him. That will change me.
Him. It'll change you.
Yeah. And you never know, it might be the next generation of cucumber grower of some description. I don't know.
So, just to sort of finish off the conversation in terms of the family business dynamic, because you're there, your mum's there, your wife's there, your son's there. Do you all rub along well, or does it ever get a little bit out of hand?
I would say 98% of the time we're good.
That's a good.
But when it's busy, when it's strenuous, and I tend to do the work myself rather than employ people, or try to have the money so it stays in the family circle, it can get fraught.
So basically the tired and grumpy syndrome kicks in.
No.
Well, actually, that's not true.
Call it tired and grumpy, because I'm pretty much tired and grumpy all the time.
You're grumpy all the time. It's just sometimes you might have had some sleep.
Very, when it's very tired, it's very snappy. Yeah. But I think that's just in business in general. It can be like that. But you just have to count to 10, walk away, think about what you're doing, and remember why you're there. You know, I'm not.
Good way of putting it.
I'm not there for my own self-importance. I'm there for everybody.
Yeah. What a great way of putting it. I never thought of it like that. It's a very humble way of looking at it, if I might say so. A very realistic way.
Yeah. I would love him to absolutely supersede and make us look like nothing. My father and me and my grandfather. So he's 4th generation.
But are you putting him under the pressure to be that man?
I do a little, yeah. I do a little.
Sorry, you got to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Change tack a bit. which restaurant let's say which restaurant that you have eaten in thus far would you want to go back to and why? Can be anything. Can be the local chip shop. Doesn't matter.
The most... this is... why would I want to go back to a certain restaurant that I've eaten in?
There may not be a standout one.
No, there is a restaurant that there's probably two, and I'm going to give you two. And there's two separate reasons. There is a restaurant in London that we supply through Russians who we work alongside, that we went to 2 years ago, I believe, and we was, yes, you were correct at the beginning, we was addressed as cucumber royalty, which was...
It was a fabulous day, that was.
For my mum and my wife, it was just what they needed.
The right thing at the right time.
Yes, to understand that everything they slog their guts out for, and like I say, she's 77, and she is still down there packing cucumbers with everybody else, that are 20, 30 years younger than her. To experience an atmosphere and a dining experience with which they have never experienced, and to be truthful, neither have I.
Well, we will name check them because I was there, and it was a spectacular afternoon. It was Ham Yard Hotel.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we should perhaps give the reason as to why you ended up there, because earlier that year, a number of chefs from Ferndale Hotels had been to your place, and had a look round. They wanted to understand more about Marco's cucumbers, and they loved everything. And in typical Ferndale Hotel style, they said, "Right, when you'd like to, please come and have lunch on us one of the days." And that's sort of how that's how they behave. So that's how we ended up at Ham Yard for lunch in early December a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and that was the ice gem on the cake, I suppose, or was it the cherry on top of the Bakewell? I don't know how you describe it, but the restaurant going out for that meal was a recognition of their hard work, and I would have loved to have just sent them to say, look, I know I've been pretty elusive and not around because I've been stuck in a greenhouse or running around here, there and everywhere. Enjoy, this is what you've produced. This is what you've ended up doing after such, where was we going to go? So for that was lovely. But when the chefs came out to my little old glasshouse farm, for me, that was really good. Really good. Really pulled on my heartstrings heavily that day.
Yeah, I know. And you sent me a message later that day.
Yeah.
I can't remember all of it. I could dig it out on my phone.
Yeah, probably could, actually.
But the headline was, "If Carlsberg only made days like this."
That's right.
And I was sitting with those guys on the minibus going back, and I read it out, and they all went quiet. It was very moving, very, very powerful moment. And actually, why? Yeah. It was just fucking cucumbers.
Yeah, well, I know.
But it was the whole deal.
But it's good, and I mean, as Ferndale Hotels did, I think it's really good that the hotel or the chefs or whoever the idea, the brainwave of this was how good is it that a chef understands what they're working with comes from. And it was quite a conversation, an in-depth conversation I had with one of the chefs. And it was like, he was like, well, yeah. And I said, for a grower, it's good to know of what you're looking for in a kitchen. And it's a bit like the modern housewife with the European cucumber, going back to smaller cucumbers. I dare bet if they could have a bag of cucumbers, which they chuck one in the lunchbox for themselves, their husband, the children, whatever, I dare bet they'd rather pick one of them up and throw it in the lunchbox than they will stand there slicing up, making nice cucumber sandwiches. Do you know what I'm saying?
So ham yard is one. You're only supposed to be given one choice, but as it's you, I'll give you two. So what's your second choice?
So this is a bit switchy. I would like to go to, in Bologna in Italy, northern Italy, there is a restaurant called Il Opico, a trattoria, on a windy mountain road. There is no menu. It is whatever they want to cook that day.
Yeah.
And you can sit there and look over the valley.
Yeah.
And as you look along the valley, it is probably as beautiful, or in my mind, more beautiful than a Tuscan scenery.
Yeah.
The food, the service is unreal. The wine is made by the hotel, by the restaurant owners. Even at the end, the digestive, what they give you. The aperitif at the beginning, homemade, and the digestivo, as they call it at the end, homemade. And I would like to go back there with those chefs that gave me the opportunity at the Ham Yard Hotel.
Because my next question was going to be, so who would you go back there with and why, which you've just answered it?
No? I would like to return the opportunity to them for what they gave me, to say, this is why I like what you did, because this guy makes his own wine, makes his own liqueurs and everything. The food's all locally sourced. It's kind of how I think it should be.
Yeah.
That the chef should understand what he's working with and where it comes from. And to be fair, the grower, it's good if the grower can understand what the end product is and what they're looking for. Taste, texture, the whole lot. Well,
you want to be careful now, because be careful what you wish for, because if these lads listen to this, they're going to be all over it like a rash and go, okay, Marco, when are we going? So be careful what you wish for.
I'd gladly do it.
So, at either of the restaurants you've mentioned, is there anybody, alive or dead, that you would go back there with, and why?
So, not a restaurant.
No?
No. If I could have any choice of anything in the world, I would like to go back to my nan's house with my grandparents. This is really hard. And
take a moment if you want. It's fine.
Yeah, give us a minute.
Fine. It's fine.
I would like to go back to my nan's kitchen with all my grandparents, all my aunties and uncles, all sitting there, just like it used to be. But unfortunately, in my memory, that was very, very faint, because my mum's dad passed away when I was 7.
Yeah.
But I remember us all being around there, all drinking wine, all drinking this, what I thought was little glasses of water, which was something that they'd distilled in the garden shed.
Moonshine.
Yeah, that's it. And extremely black, dark, strong coffee. Well, I'm sure the bloody spoon stood up in the coffee. I'm sure it did. And with a clear view of how it would have ended up.
Right.
To say, I tried my best.
You get me at it again now. That's twice.
So,
now, for somebody who is generally considered to be emotionally bankrupt or constipated, you're doing a cracking job on me here.
Yeah.
Well, I think that could be a good place to finish, because it doesn't get any better than that. So, thank you so much for coming and talking to us. I mean, I got no idea where we're going to go, where we went today. And I just think it's fantastic. What a great story. What a really strong human element that's run through it. And I think I know you a little bit better than I did. I've seen a side of you that I didn't know was there, which is great. And I think it's fantastic. And I really, really admire you for bearing your soul. So, Marco Caffarelli, thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, sorry about that.
Thanks for listening to Supplied. please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and follow Supplied Podcast on Instagram, where we'd love to get your questions and suggestions for future guests. See you next time.